former Prime Minister Raila Odinga will know his fate with destiny as 49 African heads of state gather in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on Saturday for the 38th session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government. Now, President William Ruto, who has been campaigning in Addis Ababa since Wednesday, led a backroom last-minute lobbying meeting with several heads of state in what Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Dr. Korir Singwe termed as seeking the final reassurance. Take a look. All right, so we want to bring in Apollo Kamau, who's joining us from Addis. And Apollo, if you can hear me, talk to me about what is happening in this less than 24 hours to this very, very crucial decision being made. Talk to us also about, of course, that backroom meeting and the final lobbying for Raila Odinga.
Betty, good evening from inside the Nelson Mandela Hall here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. This is where the action will be taking place tomorrow. If you can see behind me, this is where the heads of state will be casting their vote in all that crucial vote that will be happening in the afternoon tomorrow, that is 2 p.m. And also you can see where the various delegations will be sitting as they cast their vote tomorrow. It's a very crucial day given after months of intense campaigns visiting 30 countries for Kenya's candidate, Raila Odinga. Tomorrow, the moment of truth beckons. As we speak at this moment, President William Ruto and other top leaders here are in a meeting, as he has been since morning, back-to-back meetings on DRC, South Sudan, Somalia. He even met the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. On the other hand, Mudavadi was attending the Executive Council of Ministers. The candidate himself was also held up at his hotel where he met delegations of Kenyan MPs and MCAs, all wishing him well ahead of tomorrow's moment of truth. But just to give you a glimpse of what has been going on in the day, here is a package I prepared on the day's events. After months of intense campaigns across 30 countries to win the coveted AUC seat, Kenya's candidate Raila Odinga's moment of truth finally dawns on Saturday when African heads of state gather here in Addis Ababa for the AUC vote and decide who between Odinga, Mahamoud Yusuf of Djibouti and Richard James of Madagascar will win the coveted AUC seat.
That we have done what we could. The candidate in person has been to over 30 countries, 30 capitals, engaging not just anybody, engaging at the highest level possible. President
William Ruto hitting the high pedestal since Wednesday, together with Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and candidate Odinga in the race to solidify reassurances and hopefully win in the first round.
Because we have put forward such immense work, our view really is that the campaign terrain and the position of countries has already crystallized by and large. But like elections involving, at the domestic level, there might be one or two changes. We don't expect there to be fundamental changes to what we have understood to be the position taken by countries. But that's why the President and the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the candidate himself, are still engaged in final conversations to really receive reassurances.
President Ruto meeting several heads of state, among them Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia and Senegal's Diomaye Faye. Kenya is also cautious and dismissive of a letter circulated by officials of the Southern Africa Development Community SADC telling the bloc to vote for the Madagascar candidate.
And so to our minds, we do not think that it will have any bearing, but we are not taking chances. And that is why I did mention that in light of that letter, because we already have quite some assurances from a number of SADC countries of their support, we are reaching out again to SADC countries to understand what the motivations behind this letter could be.
Mudavadi, who attended the Executive Council of Foreign Ministers, also drummed up support for Odinga.
First of all, we are here so that the AU structures in accordance with the instruments that set up the African Union to ensure that there's a smooth transition from the tenure of Musa Faki to a new tenure following the election by the president. So that is one thing. It's important to have a firm, properly installed leadership at the African Union so that we can now start engaging.
The AUC vote will take place in the afternoon on Saturday, 2 p.m. Kenyan time. Apul Kamau, TV47 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Now, Betty, what we shall be looking out tomorrow is how the numbers will play out. And as we spoke to Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Korir Sing'oei, he did say, given the kind of campaign they have done and the reassurances that they were given today, they are very confident of clinching the numbers tomorrow. Now, as far as the numbers are concerned, to win in the first round, he has to get 2/3 of the vote, and that is about 33 out of 49 heads of state. In case this doesn't happen in the first round, the second and the third, after that, then it's up for grabs who remains with the highest numbers all the way. Are we likely to see the process being postponed? We shall wait and see what happens tomorrow. But to leave our viewers on the place or inside the epicenter of tomorrow's key activity, here is a glimpse of how this hall where heads of state will be convening looks like.
Thank you very much, Apollo Kamau, for that detailed update. And of course, you can trust TV47's coverage. He's going to be telling us what is exactly happening there until the AUC chairman is actually announced. So stay with us right here on TV47.